During the 27th century BC, ancient Egypt witnessed a time of relative peace, prosperity, and unprecedented innovation that laid the foundation for one of the greatest civilizations in human history. At the heart of this golden era stood a remarkable figure named Imhotep, a man whose intellect, spirituality, and contributions were so extraordinary that he would be remembered not only as Egypt's first genius but also as a deity centuries after his death. Born a commoner in the ancient city of Memphis, Imhotep's name, meaning, "he who comes in peace," would become synonymous with wisdom, healing, and divine insight. Despite his humble origins, he ascended to become the chief vizier to Pharaoh Djoser, the high priest of the sun god Ra, and a master architect who changed the architectural landscape of Egypt forever. His most notable achievement was the design and construction of Egypt's first pyramid, the Step Pyramid at Saqqara, a monument that defied tradition and redefined the concept of royal tombs. Prior to Imhotep, pharaohs were buried in mastabas, simple mud brick tombs with flat roofs and rectangular shapes, but Imhotep envisioned something grander, a structure that would reflect the divine status of the king and his eternal union with the gods. Instead of using the conventional mud bricks, he employed quarried limestone and created a design that stacked 6 diminishing mastabas on top of each other, forming the world's first pyramid and the tallest structure of its time. This innovation not only revolutionized Egyptian architecture but also inspired the construction of the later, more famous pyramids at Giza. The Step Pyramid was part of a vast mortuary complex that included courtyards, temples, shrines, and living quarters for priests, all designed with symbolic and religious significance that demonstrated Imhotep's understanding of both spiritual and structural harmony. His achievements, however, went far beyond architecture. According to inscriptions found on the Famine Stela, a granite monument created during the Ptolemaic period, Egypt suffered a 7-year famine during Djoser's reign due to the Nile failing to flood. Crime and despair spread across the land, and the pharaoh turned to his trusted vizier, Imhotep, for answers. Imhotep embarked on a spiritual journey, during which he received a divine message from Khnum, the god of the Nile, who revealed that the famine was punishment for neglecting his temple. Imhotep relayed this revelation to Djoser, who then ordered the restoration of Khnum's temple and resumed offerings to the deity. Miraculously, the Nile began to flood again, and the famine ended. This act elevated Imhotep's status in the eyes of the Egyptian people and the pharaoh, who rewarded him with honors unprecedented for a non-royal individual, including having his name inscribed beside the king's on monuments, an act forbidden by tradition. Imhotep's titles reflected the immense respect he garnered, including Chancellor of the King of Lower Egypt, High Priest of Heliopolis, Master of Sculptors, and Chief Builder. As Chief Vizier, Imhotep became the pharaoh's most trusted advisor, involved in all matters of governance, religion, and science, embodying the ideal of a true polymath in every sense of the word. Imhotep's genius extended into the realms of medicine, astronomy, and literature, earning him a legacy that endured far beyond his lifetime. He is widely believed to be the author of the Edwin Smith Papyrus, the oldest known surgical text in the world, which details 48 case studies including treatments for wounds, fractures, and injuries in a remarkably logical and empirical manner. This text, which lacks any trace of magic or superstition, is considered millennia ahead of its time and has led many scholars to argue that Imhotep, not Hippocrates, should be called the true father of medicine. Imhotep was also an astronomer credited with developing one of the earliest calendars, dividing the year into 12 months of 30 days each, with 5 additional days, forming the basis for the Egyptian civil calendar. He taught the importance of observation, balance, and cosmic alignment, linking celestial movements with the rhythms of life and agriculture. His philosophical contributions, though not all preserved, included proverbs and teachings that emphasized the value of life, contentment, and joy. One of his most quoted sayings is, "Eat, drink, and be merry, for tomorrow we shall die," reflecting his understanding of the impermanence of life and the importance of gratitude. Following Pharaoh Djoser's death, Imhotep continued to serve under succeeding rulers of the Third Dynasty, including Pharaoh Huni, until his own death. Even after his passing, Imhotep's reputation grew, and over the centuries he developed a cult-like following. By the late period of ancient Egypt, especially during the 26th dynasty, temples and shrines were dedicated to him, and people from across the land brought offerings of mummified birds and clay representations of ailing body parts in hopes of healing. In 525 BC, during the Persian conquest of Egypt by Cambyses II, Imhotep was officially deified and recognized as a god of medicine and wisdom, often depicted holding a papyrus scroll and seated in a philosopher's pose. Despite his divine status and immense historical significance, Imhotep's tomb has never been found, though archaeologists believe it lies somewhere in the vast Saqqara necropolis, perhaps in an undiscovered mastaba. The secrecy and mystery surrounding his burial only deepen the fascination with his life and legacy. Imhotep's contributions laid the intellectual foundation of Egyptian civilization and influenced future generations, from Greek philosophers to Renaissance thinkers. Some scholars even link his architectural guilds and builder organizations as precursors to the later traditions of Freemasonry. His life serves as a testament to what one individual, guided by intellect, spirituality, and vision, can accomplish. He was a man of science and of spirit, of the material and the metaphysical, a bridge between gods and humans, and a shining example of human potential. Imhotep's name still echoes in the temples and tombs of Egypt, not just as a historical figure but as a symbol of divine knowledge made flesh. His story continues to inspire awe, reverence, and curiosity, standing tall across the sands of time, much like the Step Pyramid he left behind. Imhotep was not born into greatness, but he rose to it through the sheer force of wisdom and purpose. For that, his memory is eternal.